Have you ever had a dream so clear, yet every day you wake up and do nothing about it? You tell yourself, tomorrow I'll start, but tomorrow becomes next week, next month, and then years pass. Let me ask you, how many opportunities have you let slip through your fingers just because you didn't take action? If you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you'll wait for the rest of your life. Before we go deeper, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and watch until the end, because what I'm about to share can literally change your love life, your career, and the way you see yourself forever. Now listen, let's talk about a story. I knew a guy named Arif. He had a deep crush on a girl for almost 3 years. She was everything he wanted, kind, beautiful, full of life. Every time he saw her, his heart would race. He had countless imaginary conversations in his head. Clever things he'd say, how he'd make her laugh, how they'd go on adventures together. But every time he saw her in real life, he froze. His mind would say, not today. I'm not ready. I'll wait for the right time. One day, Arif found out she got engaged to someone else. That night, he didn't cry because she was with someone else. He cried because he had never tried. He realized he wasn't defeated by another man. He was defeated by his own hesitation. And that's the first truth. I want you to understand your dreams die, not because they are impossible, but because you refuse to act on them. Forcing yourself to take action isn't about feeling ready. It's about moving forward when you still feel fear. If you wait for courage to come first, you will never act. Courage comes after you take the step, not before. Let me tell you something shocking. In 2012, a young woman named Sarah decided to start a small bakery. She had no money, no business experience, and no guarantee it would work. But one day she woke up and thought, if I don't do it today, I'll never do it. She borrowed $500, rented a small stall, and started selling cupcakes. For the first month, she barely made anything, but she kept going. 10 years later, her bakery now ships to over 20 countries. Here's the point. Sarah didn't wait for the perfect plan. She forced herself to take one small action, and that small action opened doors she couldn't have imagined. Step 1. Accept that hesitation is your biggest enemy. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever been in love? Not just a small crush. I'm talking about the kind of love that makes you feel alive. The kind of love where you can't stop thinking about that person, where every little thing reminds you of them. Think about the first time you saw them, the way they looked at you, maybe just for a second, and your heart did that strange little jump. You remember the sound of their laugh, the way they spoke your name. You imagined holding their hand, walking side by side, sharing moments only the two of you would understand. But do you also remember that one moment, that one golden opportunity, when you could have told them how you felt, but you didn't? Maybe it was at a coffee shop, when you were sitting across from them, and the words were right there on your tongue. Maybe it was during a late-night conversation, when you both felt closer than ever and you knew, this is the perfect time to say it. But then hesitation whispered in your ear, not today. What if they don't feel the same? What if this ruins everything? Let's wait for the right moment. And so you stayed silent. The conversation moved on. The moment passed. And with every passing day, your chance grew smaller until one day, it was gone. That's the cruel thing about hesitation. It dresses itself as safety, but in reality, it's the thief that robs you of the best moments of your life. I know someone who lived this exact story. He was deeply in love with his best friend. Every time she smiled, his day got better. He had 100 little moments where he could have spoken his heart, but he always told himself, I'll tell her when the time feels right. One day she called him excited. She said, I have amazing news. I met someone. We're together now. He congratulated her. He smiled. But inside, he felt like his entire world had collapsed. Not because she was with someone else, but because he had never even tried. Here's the truth. Most people don't want to admit. Hesitation has destroyed more love stories than rejection ever will. You think you're protecting yourself from pain, but what you're really doing is guaranteeing regret. Because pain fades, but regret stays with you. So I want you to remember this. Every time you hesitate, you're letting fear make the choice for you. And fear will always choose to keep you small, keep you quiet, keep you stuck. The next time your heart tells you to act, whether it's in love, your career, or your dreams, don't wait for courage. Don't wait for the perfect time. Act before hesitation has a chance to speak, because one day you'll either be telling the story of how you tried or the story of how you watched your chance disappear. And trust me, the first story feels a lot better. Step 2. Use the 5-second rule. Let me paint you a picture. You see them. The person who's been living rent-free in your heart for weeks, maybe months. They're right there, close enough that you can hear their voice, close enough that you can notice the little details you adore, the way they push their hair back, the way their eyes light up when they laugh. And your heart? It's screaming, go talk to them. Just say hello. This is your chance. But your mind, it starts throwing roadblocks at lightning speed. What if they don't remember me? What if I embarrass myself? What if they're not interested? And in that tiny space between wanting to act and actually moving, hesitation wins. This is exactly why the 5-second rule is so powerful. It's simple. The moment you feel the urge to act, count backward from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then move before your brain talks you out of it. Why does this work? Because your brain is like an overprotective friend. It doesn't want you to take risks, even if those risks could lead to something beautiful. The 5-second rule shuts down that inner debate before it starts. I'll give you a real story. There's a guy named Samir who told me this. He had been crushing on his coworker for months. Every day they'd pass each other in the hallway, smile and exchange polite hellos. But inside, Samir wanted more. He wanted to ask her out. One day they were both waiting for coffee in the office kitchen. His heart started racing. This was his moment. He thought, I should say something. Just ask her if she wants to grab lunch. And then the familiar voice of hesitation kicked in. Don't do it. She might say no. It'll be awkward at work. But instead of listening, he remembered the 5-second rule. He counted backward in his head in 5, 4, 3, 2. First, and before he could overthink, the words were already leaving his mouth. Hey, I know this is random, but would you want to grab lunch with me sometime? She smiled. Sure, I'd like that. That one decision, made in 5 seconds, turned into a relationship that lasted years. Here's the thing. The 5-second rule isn't just about talking to someone you like. It's about every single moment in life where hesitation tries to keep you stuck. It could be sending that message you've been rewriting for days. It could be picking up the phone to call someone you miss. It could be applying for the job you've been telling yourself you're not ready for. The truth is, if you wait until you feel ready, you'll never act. But if you just count down and move, even when your hands are shaking, you'll surprise yourself with how much you're capable of. So next time your heart tells you to do something, don't give your mind a chance to argue. Count backward, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just step forward. Because love, success, and change, they all start in the seconds before hesitation has a chance to win. Step 3, lower the barrier. Let me tell you a secret about why most people don't take action. It's not because they don't want something badly enough. It's because the goal feels too big, too heavy, too impossible to start. Think about love for a second. When you imagine being with the person you adore, you might picture the grand moments, holding hands under a sunset, traveling together, or building a life side by side. But when it comes to making that first move, your mind starts imagining everything at once. The first date, the proposal, the wedding, the family, and suddenly, it's overwhelming. You think, I'm not ready for all of that. But here's the thing, you don't have to do it all right now. You just need to take the smallest possible first step. Let me share a story. A friend of mine, Ali, was in love with a girl from his university. He wanted to ask her out, but in his mind it felt like climbing a mountain. He thought he needed the perfect moment, the perfect line, the perfect plan for what would happen next. But one day he changed his approach. Instead of imagining the entire relationship, he lowered the barrier. He told himself, I'm not going to ask her out today. I'm just going to say one nice thing to her. That's it. The next day, he passed her in the hallway and said, Hey, I really like your smile. It made my morning. That was it. No pressure, no big speeches. She smiled, thanked him, and they walked away. But here's the magic, and the next time they saw each other, she started the conversation. That small, pressure-free compliment opened the door for more talks, more laughs, and eventually, a relationship. You see, the reason lowering the barrier works is because it tricks your brain into starting without fear. If the first step feels small enough, You won't have the mental excuse to avoid it. Want to talk to someone you like? Don't aim for a full date invite right away. Just say hello. Want to get fit? Don't think about losing 30 pounds. Just put on your shoes and walk for 10 minutes. Want to start a business? Don't plan the whole empire. Just list one thing you could sell. When you lower the barrier, you stop thinking about the finish line and start focusing on the first step. And once you take that first step, the second becomes easier, then the third. And before you know it, you've done what once felt impossible. The truth is, big dreams are nothing but a collection of small, almost invisible actions stacked on top of each other. So in love or in life, don't let the size of your dream scare you into inaction. Just lower the barrier and start. Step 4, commit publicly. Let me ask you something. Have you ever kept a feeling, a plan, or a dream so private that nobody knew about it? Maybe you were afraid of judgment. Maybe you thought, I'll tell people when it's ready, when it's perfect. But here's the problem. When no one knows, no one expects anything from you. And when no one expects anything from you, it's easy to back out. Now think about love. Remember the last time you had feelings for someone but didn't tell your friends? You kept it to yourself because it felt safer that way. No pressure, no embarrassment if it didn't work out. But do you also remember what happened when you told even one close friend? Suddenly they'd ask, did you talk to them yet? Have you asked them out? What's happening between you two? And in that moment you felt a little push, a push to actually act, because you didn't want to keep answering, no, not yet. That's the power of committing publicly. Let me tell you about Saad. Saad had been planning to propose to his girlfriend for almost a year. He had the ring, he had the idea, but every time he thought about doing it, he'd push it to next month. One evening, during a family gathering, his cousin teased him, so when's the wedding? Saad laughed nervously. Then, almost without thinking, he blurted out, actually, I'm proposing to her in 2 weeks. The room went silent for a moment, then erupted in cheers. Suddenly, it wasn't just his plan anymore. It was something everyone was waiting for. Now he had to do it. 2 weeks later, he followed through. The proposal wasn't perfect. He stumbled over his words, and his hands were shaking, but she said yes. And it became one of the happiest moments of his life. Here's why this works. When you tell someone, or even better, tell a group and about your intention, you raise the stakes. You create social pressure. You give yourself a reason to follow through even when fear tries to hold you back. This applies to everything. Want to ask someone out? Tell a friend you'll do it this week. Want to start a fitness journey? Post online that you're committing to 30 days of workouts. Want to launch a business? Announce the opening date before you even feel ready. You see, embarrassment is a powerful motivator. Most people would rather endure discomfort than admit they didn't follow through on something they promised. So stop hiding your dreams. Stop keeping your love a secret out of fear. Put your intentions into the world. Let others hold you accountable. And watch how much faster you act. Because once your words are out there, they demand action. Step 5, remember death. I know, it sounds dark, but stay with me. Because this might be the most life-changing thing you ever hear. We live as if we have endless tomorrows. We tell ourselves, I'll do it later. I'll tell them how I feel one day. I'll chase my dream when the time is right. But here's the uncomfortable truth. There's no guarantee that later will come. Think about someone you once loved. Someone who's no longer in your life. Maybe because they moved away. Maybe because life pulled you in different directions. Or maybe because they're no longer here at all. Do you remember the last time you saw them? At that moment, you didn't know it was the last. You thought you'd have more time, and that's how life works. You never know when you're living your final moments with someone. I once knew a man named Imran. He was in love with his childhood friend, Zara. For years, he told himself he'd confess one day, maybe after getting a stable job, maybe after finding the right moment. One winter night, they were out with friends sipping tea under the stars. He almost told her then. He could feel the words sitting on his tongue, heavy and urgent. But fear whispered, not tonight. Later will be better. A week later, Zara died in a car accident. For months, Imran replayed every memory, every laugh, every time he almost said something. And now the love he could have given was just a weight he carried in silence. When he told me this story, his voice cracked. I thought I had time, he said. But time, it's the one thing you can't count on. This is why remembering death is so powerful. It's not about living in fear. It's about living in truth. The truth is, you could be gone tomorrow. The person you love could be gone tomorrow. The dream you've been delaying could disappear with one twist of fate. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." When you carry this awareness, hesitation loses its power. Suddenly telling someone you love them doesn't feel so scary, because you realize the regret of silence is far worse than the pain of rejection. Suddenly chasing your dreams doesn't feel so risky, because you understand that the biggest risk is never trying. So the next time your heart pulls you towards something, a person, a dream, a chance, don't ask yourself, "What if I fail?" Ask yourself, "What if I never get the chance again?" Because one day you won't, and when that day comes, may you look back and say, "I lived. I acted, I loved. I didn't waste my time." Life isn't a rehearsal. You don't get to rewind and try again. Every moment you hesitate, every maybe tomorrow you whisper to yourself, is a moment you never get back. So I send that message. Take that step. Lower the barrier, commit publicly, and never forget that our time is running out faster than we think. One day the people you love will be gone. One day you will be gone. And all that will remain are the things you did and the things you didn't. Let your love, your dreams, your actions be the proof that you were here, not just existing, but living. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.